Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Lips. I'm so excited to be here. I am back. I am so sorry that I am late. Anybody who knows me knows that I hate being late. So, welcome to the Miss Mouthy podcast. This podcast is all about the narrative and experiences of Black people and the allies that love and support us for season three. Um, I took last week off, y'all, for self care. If you're a new person listening to this podcast, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you find what you're looking for here. And this week's topic is called Healing Respectfully. I really thought it was imperative to talk about this topic because I've been on this healing journey without being on a healing journey. I feel like sometimes you go through shit in life and you don't recognize when you're going through it, how far in it you are, and then when you come up out of it. And so I had made a post on IG about what are people healing from, and I broke it down in four different categories. Because I don't find myself in social circles oftentimes talking about what people are going through or what they healing past. Sometimes we get on social media and the one thing we notice is how everybody's doing good or everybody is showing the highlight. And I'll take it back for story time. I was in California week before last, I believe, and God was speaking to me. So God spoke to me this one night at 5 in the morning and was telling me about my purpose with my podcast and what I needed to do and how I needed to be more vulnerable. So hi everybody that's tuning in on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. And so yeah, and I was like, God, I don't really like being that vulnerable. I always have my guests on there and I love to like let my guests highlight their experience and narrative. But he was like, no, you have to set that tone. People come here to watch you and know what you got going on. So I was like, okay, cool. Then the next night, it was at 6 in the morning. God came back just as loud as clear. I was so fucking scared, y'all. I'm not even lying to you. Just to hear the voice and like you have to be obedient when that calling is calling you to. And so I was like, but why me, Lord? Like it was these big asses of myself. Like this is what you got to do when you go back to Detroit. You got to do X, Y, and Z, and you got to really focus more on mental health and the healing parts of like your people and let them know like what type of tips you took in your healing journey. Because you're a product of pain, right? So I was like, all right. Um, so I did that. Scared the fuck out of me so bad, y'all, that as soon as I got back to Detroit, I went to church. I went to church that Sunday and I was not playing. So I was like, I ain't got no time. So boom. Um, I'm gonna do the weekend recap. So um last week on Friday, I went to dinner with my cousin. We went to Cooper Hawks in Troy. Check it out. It's an amazing place to enjoy wine, good food. If you want an elegant, like, I just like a vibe. Okay, I don't care what we doing or how we doing it, but I like a vibe. So now I find myself really going after um places with nice atmospheres and really a new experience and nuance. So me and my cousin Janae went out to dinner. That was amazing. Then I linked up with some friends at Club Celebrity. Shout out to Josh and DJ. Hey y'all. We had a good time with the gang and was turning up for one of his friends' birthday. And then of course Detroit gonna be Detroit. And I hate to put it out there like that, but we had a good time. But it was afterwards. Somebody bust out their car window. And then like it was kind of like a mini shootout. And I know y'all like mouthy, a mini shootout. It was just like a mini little shootout. Like I don't know what was going on, but girl wasn't trying to sit around and see. So I just started running. Okay, period. Back to my car. Two, A, make sure my windows wasn't bust out, but two, like, get the fuck on. Um, so then Saturday I had my girl Exotic sip paint meet and greet and like shout out to Exotic. She's dope as fuck. So it was really amazing to go. I like painting. I don't know what it is about painting that I enjoy. Maybe it's therapeutic. I don't know, but I'm learning that my new self really enjoys going to paint. And so that's what I do now. And for everybody who didn't make it to her album release party, she was having a meet and greet there that was more intimate, more small. I love the venue. She also had her celebrity chef best friend, Callie Cooks, was in the building, chefing it up with a good spread. Y'all know I love sushi. So sushi was on the menu, tasting delicious. So shout out to you, Callie. Um, and then Sunday I had rounded out with tabling Hazel Park's Pride. First of all, I didn't even know Hazel Park had a Pride, but yeah, I had tabled that event with Corktown Health. So shout out to Corktown Health. Shout out to everybody who was out there. I actually ran into DJ Matt Holiday out there. So shout out to you. He was killing it. Like I'm always impressed with how DJs, specifically him, can like change the music to set the tone of what event, and it's just like they're able to really read the room and read the crowds of folks and know their audience that get everybody so engaged and still have a good time. So I thought that was super dope. um Yes, the Breaking Barrier program. I was tabling the event for the Breaking Barrier program. So if there's any trans women that's interested that want to be a part of the program, there are specific qualifications you may have to have, like living with a chronic illness. But please hit my DM if you seem interested. And Wednesday, it's been a busy week, y'all. It's been busy, but people are always like, Mouthy, you go here, you do this, da, da, da. But it's me really supporting the people that I love. And that's what I want people to get in practice of, like, support the people who support you, love on the one. So it's not because I just want to be out here in these streets, but it's about showing up for people so they really know that, like, I thank you for showing up for me and I got you too. But I went to the Summer Walker concert on Wednesday and it was lit. It was lit. Like, it's Summer Walker. So she's not the biggest performer to me, but I love her artistry. I love the way she sings. I love the way her aesthetic with her stage setup be. Like, I love her visuals, but I recognize that she's pregnant. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if she's just fulfilling an obligation between her and her old situation with her last baby daddy or what. But it didn't it wasn't giving me what I needed to give, but also shit, it was a Wednesday night and I was just trying to get out the house, so I didn't care. And then last night we had Drunken Cake with Trey Bakes, and that was lit. Congratulations on your first event. It was amazing at CMC Chill and Hookah Lounge. Um, I never did cake um decorating, and the reason why I'm telling y'all about all this shit that I do is for the sense of in your life, you have to recognize when you are existing versus when you're living. Okay. So, a mass majority of people just exist. We go about life casually in our everyday, day to day situations without recognizing that we're really not living. And so, lately, I've been like really living, like unapologetically, authentically, just going wherever my heart's desire, doing whatever if it's a thought like, "Oh, bitch, I wanna go canoeing today." Guess who gonna go canoeing? Imma pull that motherfucking canoe right out on the water. Me. If I be like, "I wanna go hiking," whatever it is to just give myself a new experience outside of saying, "I'm bored," that's where I'm at with it. And then today, y'all, cause y'all know I'm a crybaby. Today I had got an email. Well, the email must have been in there for a while, but I got an email that I am gonna receive, I Am Human's Trans Artist of the Year award, and that is such an honor. Thank you. So that made me feel really, really good. Just because sometimes you just never know. You never know. In this type of work, I feel like you can put your best for it. You can put your intentions out there, but you don't know how it's being received. And you necessarily don't get into doing this type of work for the accolades, even though it's good at some point. But I'm always highly humbled when people recognize my efforts and they see what I'm trying to do. So it's like when you're able to create a vision and people can also see that vision just as clear as you did when you created it. So thank you for everybody who tuned in and listen. Y'all set the lips. Y'all words of encouragement is so supportive. But getting into the topic, healing respectfully. The reason why I even like why this hit me. I was supposed to do an event maybe like a month or so ago called Healing Respectfully because I wanted to create a space. I'm still going to do the event. I just got to get the dates right. I want to do an event where I create space where people can really start to heal authentically in a way of having exercises, conversation, and share space with communities of people with same lived experience, no matter what the trauma or whatever the situation may be that we're experiencing, whether it's grief, whether it's like anything. I want people to get in the habits of just as we socialize to like go to dinners and go to clubs, that we start going to places that can like soothe us in a way or heal us if possible. So boom. I wanted people to know that healing comes at your own rate. Like and that people are worth healing. You are worth that process of getting over whatever pain that you've been through. Sometimes, whether we're still in the situation or coming out the end of it, it kind of shifts our perspective on self to be able to think if we're worthy enough to deserve these good things that be happening now. Like when shit happens to me, I'm like, I don't want nobody to think I'm gloating or like I'm being bragful or boastful. But also, you want to celebrate yourself and you don't want you are worthy. So all the things that you survived past, all the shit that you got through led you to this point. So appreciate it. Allow yourself space to be able to take it all in. And healing is a part of that process. If you've been through something heavy, it is okay to allow yourself room to know that you're deserving of something better. That same behavior or that same trauma or that same pain is not something that you were meant to endure for the rest of your life. So, I had started with, what is healing? Like, what is healing? What does that look like? So, what it was a process of making or becoming sound and healthy again. And y'all know I'm not as transparent with that, but like these past 2.5 years, a bitch was broken. I had went through a whole lot of things, and we all go through stuff. So I'm not trying to make my shit more violin play. No, what I'm saying is that I didn't even recognize how much pain I was carrying because I had normalized hurt and disrespect and pain that I just felt like, oh, this is normal for several reasons, right? As a black person, as a woman, as a trans person, I was just like, this is just what comes with it. But it's not. It don't have to be. And so once people started to recognize that there is something like a pressure overload of the shit that they're carrying of pain, trauma, and hurt, uh, maybe I had to let that go. But it was also a process, and that's where the respectfully come in, right? So respectfully, use an expression of politeness, to mitigate, to make less severe or serious of the pain, and effect of a refusal or a disagreement. So when I'm healing now, and I take up space with healing because I recognize how important it is for me now to show up in my fullness. Like I cannot do work. I can't be a mom. I can't be the best podcaster. I can't be the best activist if I'm not healing myself from things that shrink me or hurt me or make me feel less than, right? So that was the thing. And so I had created a poll for y'all and I was asking y'all like, what things are y'all healing from? And so I had got the results from the poll, y'all. I'm trying to pull them up because it be lit when I be taking these. So what are you healing from? I broke it down in 4 different categories. It was trauma, heartbreak, grief, and financial setback. And a lot of y'all had said it's a combination of all of them, which I wholeheartedly agree. Some people had combination. It was like 50% had combinations of one or two, like two things of the sort, like switched up, like whether it was grief and heartbreak, or trauma and grief, or financial setback and trauma. But um, the one thing I just thank everybody for even taking the poll was your willingness to share that. A lot of my process with trying to heal was that I wasn't allowing, I didn't want to be vulnerable. I didn't want anybody to know what I was going through because you want to remain strong, right? Like you want to remain this person who got it all together. But for who? How you got it all together and you falling apart at the seams? It does not make sense. So, y'all know my favorite number is 7. So I just wanted to leave y'all with 7 different tips of what my journey was like with healing respectfully, okay? Um so I want to offer y'all that because the first thing I had to do was acknowledge my pain. Ugh. I had to acknowledge the things that I didn't want to say out loud. Those things was eating me up inside, right? So we have our voice that's telling ourselves of all these things that we don't want to, we know we experience, but we don't want to say it out loud. And I knew that this relationship that I had held so high of, that everybody had knew me for, was falling apart. I also knew that I was going through a custody battle. I also knew financially I was not making the money that I needed to. So where was the space for me, right? Like I had allowed a person to isolate me from all my friends, from all my family, leave me from all opportunities of like financial gain. And then when you decide to leave, I had to sit with the realization that I had made all those choices. Every choice that led me up to that point, I had made for the sake of love. And I was just like, damn, how does that hurt you? And I was like, at first we play that role of like, I don't give a fuck what a nigga do. Da, 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 da. But it did. It hurt me. I was like, after everybody had told me not to fuck with your ass, I still fucked with you. And it ended up biting me in the ass. Okay. So I had to acknowledge my pain. And once I acknowledged my pain, I had to realize like, you human. You're not experiencing nothing somebody else who ever been in love have not been through. So it don't hurt less. It don't make it greater. It just was like, oh, you thought you was gonna get married to this person. That wasn't the reality. You thought you was gonna raise a child with this person. That's no longer your reality. And I think sometimes those steps are coming to realization about where life is taking you now, and you like, I'm in control. That's the thing. You can't have control over life because life is life, and life is gonna give you and do what it needs to do based on, see, we base love solely on another person. I can't help what that person decides to do while we're in a relationship. Only thing is when the relationship no longer serves me, I have to then decide what I want to do with it. So number 2, I had to realize, how was my pain showing up? Like how was it coming up for me? And like once you recognize pain, everything just, for me, my I statement is that like as a black girl, I grew up only knowing anger. Anger and sadness was the 2 emotions that I understood. Nobody talked to me about anxiety. Nobody had talked to me about depression and all these different things. Nobody talked to me about trauma. So I was trying to figure out, how's this pain showing up? And so everybody would be like, you're just so quiet. Like, why are you so quiet? Isolation kept me safe. If I'm away from everybody, nobody can hurt me. If I'm not dating anybody, if I'm not on nobody's radar, nobody can hurt me. If I'm after work in home, locked up in my room, who gonna harm me? So that was always a survival skill for me. But my shit was showing up in depression, y'all. Like those when the CPS people look, that's another thing too. It's just like being afraid of talking about the experiences that you had went through, because when you hear CPS as a black person, you like somebody a bad mom, somebody a bad dad, somebody dropped the ball on these kids. But anybody can make a CPS allegation against you. It's just that simple. So when going through the CPS situation in custody, I was like, "Oh my god, this make me feel like such a bad person." It makes me feel like a bad mom, like I failed my child, but then I had to realize that that's not a reflection of me. Like how people show up with their pain and their trauma and what they do to try and hurt you has no margin. It has no limitations. So you just got to let people show up and be people. So when you beat the first CPS case, and then they open a new one in a new county, and you beat that one too, it just started to be like a repetition. But it made it hard for me to want to get out the bed. Depression was showing up. I had dropped out of college. I didn't want to do that shit no more. It also was looking like I started having that vice of where I just wanted to have sex to numb my pain. And I don't know who else needs to hear this, but offering your body to somebody ain't gonna take away from that internal pain that you feel, for lack of a better words. It also don't replace self-esteem. So it's some work that's gonna have to need to be done there in order for you to do that. It showed up in weight gain because also, right, when you use sex as a vice, sometimes people get the wrong impression of you, but it does not take away from how people perceive you. So when you're sexually assaulted, then my mentality was like, okay, if somebody take advantage of my body, then I need to gain weight because that's going to be unattractive. They're not going to want me anymore. They're not going to like me. Now, this is all the work that I'm realizing while being in therapy. So that's why I encourage for people to get into therapy, because you don't realize all these little minute things that you're doing that shows up of trauma and pain and hurt, right? So what I didn't what I didn't bet on was that once you gain weight, your boobs do get bigger. Your ass do get bigger. And that makes people more intrigued and more want to be like, oh really? Oh, she body dotty. Okay. Um, so yeah, that was the thing. And I started to people please. I started to people please because I wanted people to like me. I ain't give a fuck who it was. It was all the wrong people, because now I don't have my baby here to pour my love into, but I want to like pour this love into somebody else. So now I'm doing shit that I know I don't want to do. I'm doing it for reasons that I don't want to do, and I don't know how to say no because I just want some love and some validation from people. 3, seek help. Seek help is the biggest thing. Recognizing that you're the only person that can see the smoke helps you identify that there is something that needs to be done. Nobody else can help you unless you recognize that you need help. So I was like, damn, I think I need therapy. Like, I'm not getting out of bed. I'm starting not to care that work is um getting taken care of. Hey, everybody on Facebook. Hey, everybody on Instagram. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm just talking about respectfully healing. Um, but yeah, I had to seek help. So I was trying to find all these providers. And what I was running into is that there was a wait list. And I'm this is for anybody. Don't get discouraged because you have a wait list. That is not a deterrence of saying this is not what you need. This is something you shouldn't do. It's just meaning the capacity for mental health is so motherfucking big now, y'all, that everybody is seeking it. Everybody is starting to get a part of it. And it's so limited to the providers that can do what they can do, right? Um, but don't stop trying. I wish I would have got it. In my next thing, I'm going to try and bring the information, because I do have information for a network of providers that everybody can go to if you're on a wait list for another mental health provider. So I had got into therapy, and of course it was scary. I didn't want to tell no bitch that don't know me my business. I swear to God I didn't, y'all. Like, I was just like, she gonna judge me and it's gonna be this, that, and the third. And the reality was she is cool. Like, I feel like she is family. Like, I can't live without her. Like, I'm just like, Claudia, I love you so much. And she keep it real with me. Like, when she know that I'm on like one of my little spells, she keep it G with me and she let me know, like, girl, okay, Raquel, like, bring it on back. 4, I had to I had to identify my triggers and my traumas. Like, I had to really figure out how to identify the problem. And for me, the number one problem, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. The number one problem for me was that it was men. As much as I had wanted men to show up in my life and love on me and be my safeguard and show me some form of love, I did not recognize that they were the people that was doing the most harm to me. But it also was me choosing to allow these people into my life, whether it was a friend, whether it was romantic. I just had to learn that men, for me, were not the most safest people for me to be around in such a vulnerable state. I'm not saying ever, but when I was in that dark, dark place, I was vulnerable and subjective to a lot of things that, had I been in a more healthier, healed place, I would have never allowed myself to be in. And so I had to recognize that grief. I don't ever talk about the loss of like my mom and my brother. Like, I just kind of I'm numb to the fact of people leaving. Like it just be like, well, death is gonna happen to everybody. But it shouldn't shy you away from saying that it hurts, that you miss them, that you love them. And even if you get sad behind it, it's okay. So, I do have a altar for everybody who has passed on that I celebrate, that I bring into the room with me. Um, but those two, like if you never experience a loss, I don't wish that on nobody, especially like a loss of a parent. But I do recognize that like sometimes life will have you go through that grief. And if you lose a parent, it's forever life changing and damaging. So I tell everybody to please reach out to people, do whatever it is that you can do to like soften that loss. It ain't gonna never go away, but to soften so that life becomes a little bit more bearable. Um, People opinions of me. That was one of my biggest triggers because I would get defensive. Like, bitch, how dare you think you about to say something to me or about me and your shit ain't in the but why do I gotta be defensive? Your opinion of me or you knowing some type of truth about me does not shape who I actually am. So all of those things I had to learn to undo. I had to learn I had years of childhood trauma that went unnoticed, untalked about. Um, whether it was colorism, whether it was like honestly just identifying as a trans girl in a whole black ghetto family, like those type of things took time for me to be able to unpack because you never want your family to feel like you talking shit about them or they got it wrong. But the reality is it's okay to hold people accountable and say, hey, look, you hurt me in this way because you didn't know better. But how do we move forward from this point on? Sometimes you really have to show people how to treat you, whether that's your loved one, your family members, your coworkers. I encourage people to let somebody know how to handle you so that way you don't feel like you have to be the constant punching bag of somebody lack of knowledge. So, 5, I had to be patient with the process. As long as it took me to recognize that I had been through some shit, that I'm still going through some shit. It's still stuff today that I'm still healing past. I have to be patient with the process. It's days that I have really high days. Like I just know it's gonna be a good day. Or sometimes I'm so busy that I don't think about what I might be feeling. I put it on the back burner and then it comes up later in something else. So be patient with the process that just because you get into therapy off your first session, you're not about to be healed. Okay. After your first one and done, you're not that's just not how that works. But you have the ability to always bounce back from it. And I had to learn as long as it took for me to get to this point of healing, it it's gonna take that much for all of the harm to be undone. And being very truthful with myself and shed these layers. And it's okay for it to be uncomfortable. I say that because I thought about the things that so the past 2 years when I thought about suicide, I thought about what would it look like if I could just show my baby daddy, well, you fucked me over. Ha ha, this is the last laugh. It's on you, right? But then life showed me something completely different where I had opportunities I never dreamed. I wouldn't have been able to get none of the accomplishments I have. I wouldn't have been able to create Mouthy in the way that it was. Even with the most recent things of like how legal stuff is happening, I wasn't willing to see it all the way through to know if it got better. So I'm just saying be patient with the process of the storm. Sometimes God will break you down and make you be a better version of yourself because he know that you can be that. So it took for me to have to go through everything that I went through to be able to woman that commands a room. That to start, I walked away from my career. Okay. I walked away from everything that I knew to pursue my passion. But I would have never done that if I was that girl from 2.5 years ago. That girl who would put her family and relationship before her own goals and aspirations. Um, so 6 would be have a routine of self-care. Um, that is my biggest thing. Like getting into a routine of learning yourself is going to help you When you know that whether that's getting up every morning and making you breakfast, or if you just need that cup of coffee, whether that's a morning workout, whether that's a morning affirmation. For me, I got my routine. I got to get up. I got to make my bed. I got to light my incense and my candles and put on my daily affirmation. I don't know what the world got in store. I could just wake up and they're going to be like, World War 55. I don't know. But what I do know is that I had just prepared myself to be at peace, even if it was for 2 minutes. Um, and once you learn that, you'll realize how important peace is in the process of healing. It wasn't nothing monumental. It wasn't nothing that cost a lot of money. I just knew that makes me feel good. So, whatever it is, if it's every morning waking up to a scent, a song, a smiling face that brings you happiness, do that for yourself and get yourself in a routine of always showing up for yourself. Because you know what happens when you don't have a routine, you subjective to people coming in, taking all types of energies from you. And we do it time and time again. People who are not fully healed, we become people pleasers. And what we do, we're pouring in other people's vessels 24/7 while our well is running dry. And it's just like nobody is replenishing you because they feel like your well is fine and you are in a place to where you don't want to tell people your shit is running low and you got a few drops left in you because you want them to know, hey, I just love you this much and I'm willing to pour into you this much. But no, when you got a routine for self-care, you recognize how boundaries have to be in place. Boundaries is going to be the thing that protects you from people taking more of you than you willing to give. Boundaries is to let people know that, like, hey, this is who I used to be and this is who I am now, and you got me fucked up if you think I can be busting at the seams and you just taking my thread and still pulling it and making it all about you. I'm falling apart over here. The biggest thing that I see oftentimes with especially black women that are black moms, we do so much for our kids. We do so much for our family. We do so much for our men while we still be needing things. And I don't know who might be out here who can relate to it. But I'm telling you, ladies, if you don't start to love and self practice and pour into yourself, they gonna wait. They gonna wait. And you know what I started to realize? Everybody who I felt like needed me, when I said no, when I set that boundary, they found another way to get where they needed to do. Whether that was that cash app, whether that was a ride to work, whether that was a ear to listen to, they found somebody else to be that vessel for them. So recognize that we just do ourselves a disservice that feel like we have to be there for everybody. And lastly, it was the grow to glow. People keep talking about, oh, you're glowing and this, that, and third. And yes, I recognize that. I recognize that. But what I will say is that I had to grow through the mud. I had to grow through all the bullshit, all the yucky shit that life is, so I can plant my seeds so they can gain harvest. And it ain't an easy process, but it has to be done. And that looks like a lot of things. That looks like you may not like who you are. You might go through a stage of uncomfortability and truth about yourself because you might have to actually take some accountability. Say, you know what? Yeah, a lot of shit had happened to me, but did I put myself in those situations? What accountability or what part did I play in that situation? Because we all got a choice. I'm always go back to that. And then recognizing the damage has been done. So where do I go from here? How do I continue to thrive or make the most of my life with what I have? And from there, I started to realize that I had to leave people alone. I had to leave certain places alone, certain behaviors I had to not do. Y'all, and I say this because even when I was in California, all the time I'm battling with who I once was, the way I used to think, with who I am now, the actions of who I am now. Um, the biggest thing was that I was in California. The old me, what I do? I like to turn up when I get there. I always be on the little app, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna find me a piece, and I'm gonna have me a good time. I'm about to go out to the clubs. I'm about to shake this ass. I'll be ready. That's the old me. The new me, that girl sat in the motherfucking hotel room and ordered room service and was just chilling because I never have a second of just peace of mind and clarity. So I was just like I literally was trying to force myself to geek myself up to be like, no, bitch, this is what we gotta do. Like, you know the rule, you know the routine. And I could not do it. I could not do it, y'all. Why? Because I had recognized somebody that I randomly meet off the app wasn't deserving of my body. They was not deserving of my energy or my tempo. Also, going to the club, I was just like, my anxiety got high. They talking about monkeypox and shit, and we still battling COVID. So I was just like, nah, I don't really want to do that. Because I like to be close and I like to dance and grind on folks. So I was like, nah, I don't really want to do that. But also, I don't know the city well enough. I don't know the city well enough to know, like, is this a place I'm really gonna be safe? Is this some place that I even want to take that type of choice in? So I decided not to. And every day I just allow myself to reveal who I am to me. If you be patient in the process, I promise you, this new person who is emerging from you, I don't know who the fuck she is. I don't know her. Okay. But I'm loving discovering who she is and who she's showing me she is now. It's not always about a nut or the floss or people perceptions of you. Now it's about internal peace and being comfortable with self and having goals and ambitions, and how do I actually tackle that? So, that be my biggest thing now that I really want to start addressing. And I sent out some links if there's any people who are willing to want to come on and talk about the things that they are healing on. That is going to be our minute with Mouthy, is that we're going to open up the line for people to talk what they heal past. Um, but yeah, those are the biggest 7 lessons that really helped me to be in the healing process that I'm in today. And by no means am I saying you got to take any of this. Hopefully, something fell on your heart. But I'm just saying healing is going to. What did I write last night? Last night, something had hit me. Hold on, y'all, because I got to share it. All right. So, what I'm saying is why healing was so important to me is that one, I never thought I could get over the things that I had been through. And you think about that just in your childhood. I don't know how y'all grew up, but we grew up thugging it out with roaches and rats. And so I just knew when I became adult, I didn't want that type of lifestyle for myself. People mistaken now as like, oh, she's so bougie, she's so uppity. But that's the things that I've been through that I never want to go through again. And what it is now is that I don't want to be a product of my pain. And that's just period. I do not want to keep walking into relationships harvesting old feelings and all hurt from a past relationship or somebody who has hurt me. I don't want to not gauge real girlfriends or friendships because another friend was jealous or envious of me. That's just not how I want to move moving forward. I don't want to be so painful that I stop my own growth with my creativity because I'm so angry and guarded that I'm not allowing myself to live up to my full potential self. And each one of y'all are deserving of living a life that's fulfilled of you living in your fullness. You should be able to have the love of your life, the job of your dream, the happiness that comes inside and outside. Look the way you desire. And maybe I'm just a optimistic person in that way, but I'm starting to see it. And I know y'all are too. Y'all literally watching me unfold becoming someone who was not this girl years ago, but that is the journey of healing. And each one of us will change and grow as we begin to do that. So I'm just thankful to do this all the time. And like I said, I love coming on here talking to lips all the time. I love popping my shit with y'all because we got an exciting journey this year. I think season 3, I don't want to say it, but I think it's going to be my best year yet because I've become so aware of who I am with self discovery and like being able to be honest about my pain and the shit that I've been through. Um, I'm not by no means gonna ever pretend like my shit don't stink. I got shitty ways like everybody else. But I want to always try and tap in and remind y'all that it is joy out there. There is liberation out there. There is a life that you can live that's far greater than your current reality. Period, point blank. So, um, I guess nobody has nothing to really come on and say. But if you got a question on what are you healing past, you can definitely chime in. Yeah, you.
Oh shoot. I'm just so I'm just sitting here listening, and I'm just kind
Oh.
of entranced by
Oh,
what you're talking about because you said something earlier, and you said everyone's got shit, right?
yeah.
Yeah, everyone has shit, but it's how you deal
Mhm.
with the issues that you're going through, and you either become a worse person for it, or if you work hard enough at yourself, you become a better person and learn from those experiences.
Yeah.
And this past year for me, even I've had to learn quite a bit because I am not the same person I was a year ago in any way, shape, or form. Financially,
Yeah.
spiritually, I've there. Everyone's got shit.
Yeah.
Mouthy. Everyone's got shit.
Yeah.
So if you really have something that you're struggling with, and you said this earlier, therapy.
Yeah.
Seek out a professional therapist and be someone that you can just talk to, and you
Yeah.
have to trust them, of course. Feel it out. You may not find the right therapist the very first time
Yeah.
because you may not be comfortable enough. It's how they treat you is what you want to look out for.
Yeah.
So
I always think of therapy as like your first bra, ladies. Like, the first one may not fit the best,
yeah,
but you got to try a few different on to find what works for you. Okay.
fair enough. But
Yeah.
thank you for letting me chime in.
Yes, of course.
Yep.
But again, anybody who check on the people that you love, check on your strong friends, check on your friends whose habits may have changed a little bit more. Um, yeah, because you just gotta show up for folks. Like I literally walk in practice loving on people who love on me. I no longer want to serve relationships or people who I feel like it's not reciprocal energy. Um, but if you see one of your friends struggling, come from a place of love. That's all I'm gonna say. Come from a place of love and check in on somebody. The same way we pick up our devices all the time and watch each other's story. Because I kind of got into it with somebody on Facebook about this. Because I was like, I'm no longer in a space where friendships um like if you're not a friendship that like share support or encourage, I need people to understand that because sometimes it don't always look like saying some shit or liking some shit. But even if you don't encourage me by your own motivating factor, then I don't know if I want to be your friend at this stage of my life because I only want people who is on the same caliber of me. I don't want people who are going to become a distraction or a liability. And so I say that because the same energy that it takes to just always share and look at your friend's story and posts or question them why they can't be in spaces and places with you is the same amount of energy it takes to send a text or a phone call to check in and say hey. And it worked both ways. Don't ever let the entitlement makes it think that it only take that one friend to carry a friendship. No, but I'm just saying the intentionality that it went for you to say, hey, let me look on her story. It's not a friend who I look at their story and then I don't decide to like go and do that. If my schedule is so busy, if I really love and fuck with you, I'm gonna set a whole day aside just to kick it with you and just make you know that like I love and fuck with you. I mean I can't do that every day or once a month, but whenever I can, I'm gonna make myself available for you to know that. But I just want y'all to know I'm not the same girl who I used to be. And so respectfully, I ask y'all to let me heal. Let me heal and let me chill. So y'all offer that same space and love to yourselves. It's your girl, Miss Mouthy. Even when you what? Don't hear me, you see me. Till next time. Bye.